Welcome back to another episode of Ty as a Mother podcast. I am super excited about today's, or not even today, this series of episodes that we have going on because I have some amazing moms who are going to share their mother's tea. They're going to give their testimonies. They're going to be able to help out so many other moms that's out there that need this support because I'm going to tell y'all, I need the support too as well. Like being a mom is a lot, but man, I'm trying to tell you, these moms that I have, they are really, really dope. So I'm super excited about our day one special guest, Tamika. Tamika, I am going to give you the platform. Go ahead and tell the people who you are, how many kids you have, and describe with one word how you feel about your motherhood journey right now.
My name is Tamika Smith. I am a public speaker as well as a published author. I um I have one son. He's an adult now. He's 22 and a half years old. If the
22
half
and a
look,
half.
if the half counts, I know y'all stop counting at a certain time because you'd be like 12 months, 14. No, it's 12 months and 1 year old, whatever. But he's 22 and a half years
And
old.
is.
And if I can describe my motherhood right now, I would describe it as I would say I'm still growing, I'm still
Yes.
learning. I'm still a learner. If I can put it in one word, I'll say a learner.
See, I love that because you know what, as moms, a lot of times we get caught up in that identity. You
Mhm.
just become a mom. And I'm going to admit for myself, like when I had night, wait, first of all, pause, rewind back. I still can believe your baby 22 years old, 22 and a half
22 and a
years
half.
old. 22 and a half. 'Cause I had what that really just sunk in just now. I'm like, look, we done went to high school together and all this stuff. Let me give y'all a little
Yes.
background. If you don't hear it by now, my girl is from New Orleans, okay?
Yes.
So just hearing it, I'm like 22, like, wow, 22 years old.
22.
So, man, but you're doing it though, because you look fly as all get out. You hear me? You don't look like you have no 22-year-old
Thank
old
you. Thank
baby.
you.
But let me get back on topic though. So, but being a mom, sometimes that takes up our identity, right?
Mhm.
And I am very guilty of this. I have let momhood take over. So you tell me, how has motherhood impact your identity? And it's pretty much like a two-part. So how did it impact your identity? And what are you outside of being a mom?
So I had my son when I was young. I was 17 years old. So I was a teen mom. And at that time, I was still learning myself, still learning what I like, what I dislike, what college I wanted to go to, what were my points where I feel like I couldn't push anymore, all of that other good stuff,
Mhm.
right? So then
Yes.
life happened. I had a unplanned pregnancy. And I just want to say this to the
Mhm.
moms, just full disclaimer, you can do all that you can do for some of your children. You can have all the talks you want to have. Don't feel bad if you have a daughter that gets pregnant. That doesn't mean you didn't do your job.
Yeah.
But back to what I was saying is
Mhm.
now that I have evolved into motherhood, right? I'm
Right.
still a learner. Like I'm still learning my son as we go along. Although we've been doing this thing for years and it's almost like he's my brother, but I have to realize like he's steadily evolving. But outside of that,
Mhm.
and I tell him this all the time, like I'm going to be here for you. If you need me, I got you. But the way that I have instilled, the things that I have instilled into my son is God is first.
Yeah.
Okay?
And is
God is president
how the
of it
kids be doing
all.
it now.
Yes,
You're right.
yes, yes, yes. So whatever you do, whatever you say, whatever you think, you better think on his level, okay? And
Okay.
so I give him, I hold him accountable for his actions, and I tell him this: I'm doing me.
You're right.
I'm 40 years old. Outside of being a mom, I give back to my community. I'm a health advocate. I'm a public speaker. I'm an author, and I'm also a survivor of endometriosis and lupus. So
Yes.
in my journey right now, I'm reaching back to help other people. Like Maya Angelou say, when you heal, you reach back and you help others. And that's where I am in my life at this moment.
I see. People wouldn't know because honestly, I keep up with your story on social media. If you all, matter of fact, please before this podcast even ends for today, make sure you give out your information so people can follow your journey because it's just phenomenal with what you been through and where you're still going. Right.
Mhm.
So even with everything that you have going on, you're still able to be, like you say, that learner. And I love that because as a mom, sometimes some moms feel like they just know everything.
Mhm.
No, we're not. We're still learning because honestly, these kids are in a different day and time.
Mhm.
Things are totally different. And some days I know everything that you have going on. You're an author, you're a mother, you do a lot for the community, you do a lot with your family and things like that. But on those days where things are like really hard, because every day is not easy.
No,
Like, what is it that keeps you grounded on those hard days?
I would have to say my I'm an overcomer. I've been through a lot with my health, and my faith is what keeps me. My faith and my relationship God with God is what keeps me. The support from my family, my parents, and my son as well, is super incredible. But it's like this with being a mom and being a woman, anything in life, you have to want it for yourself.
That part.
You have to want it for yourself. And so on those days where I feel like I just want to, give up, because there are times I deal with anxiety and I don't like to call those things out. You know what I mean? I don't like to call those things out. But this
Yeah.
is something that I've been battling with and I keep it in prayer. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I just have to keep going to God. And that is where I find my rest. That is where I find my peace. That is where I find my joy.
Yes.
It's God above all.
Yes. Mm. I'm telling you, if it's not for God, a lot of things wouldn't even be this platform here wouldn't even happen. Me keeping
Hmm.
my sanity wouldn't even happen. So I'm telling you, you have to keep God first with everything that you do, and you have to make sure that you teach your kids that. Because even though, we have that relationship, but we want to make sure once they get older that they have that type of relationship with God as well too, their own personal relationship and things like that. And
Right.
so, but motherhood, it comes with so much. It really does. It
Hmm.
comes with a lot. But what is some of the things that has been most rewarding for you as a mother?
Look, no shade to no shade to the men who do not want to step up to the plate and be a father.
That
Okay,
part.
no shade. But I'm going to say this because I have to toot my own horn, give myself a pat in the back, give myself kudos and everything else. And a lot of times
As
as
you,
moms, we
yes.
don't give ourselves enough credit and we don't give
We don't.
ourselves enough praise. We don't. And that's one
No.
thing I told myself. I said, you know what? I have to get better at doing this, like acknowledging and saying, girl, you bad. And
Yes.
so the thing about it is I'm very proud of the mother that I have evolved into, as well as the woman I have evolved into. And so, with that being said, I'm very proud of the fact that I was able to be resilient from turning from being a teen mom to now being an adult mom, and all of the
Right.
battles that I faced along the lines, dad being incarcerated. I'm raising my son independently. I had support
Wow.
from my parents, but he was incarcerated for a long time. And at one time in my life when I was younger, I thought I was like, I don't need him. I could do this all by myself. But when you
Mm,
look at it in life, they need their fathers. Children need their fathers. But at the same time, I'm just proud that I was able to forgive and to move on, be accountable for my
mm,
actions and accept the fact that, okay, he doesn't want to be here. You don't want to be in the picture, good. And keep it moving. And that's one of my proud things because now I get to see my son be successful in life. And then
right.
I made a decision because there are times that you have to protect your children from their parent. And
Yes, you
some
do.
people don't want to hear this, especially sometimes as black moms, we don't want to hear about that. It's this thing like, well, we're gonna keep trying and we're gonna keep trying and we're gonna keep trying. But
Mm-mm.
that comes with hurt and rejection and abandonment. And sometimes moms don't realize the damage that it causes upon the kids.
Yeah. Now, you had mentioned earlier, you say you had to work on um, just pretty much accepting it is what it is. Like,
Hmm.
so how was it for you to forgive and to move forward? Because I know there's other moms out there that has that same, may have something similar to where they feel like, okay, he doesn't want to be bothered, dad doesn't want to be involved, and that's okay. But what advice would you give to them to get past the hurt?
all I can say is you got to give that to God.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, I wasn't hurt for me because I have both of my parents. My
Right.
son's dad came back. He went to jail twice actually. So the second time when he came home, they talked and they were going to, get together and start this relationship, which I knew wasn't going to happen. But you have to let them,
Mm.
go out there and see what it is. But
Right.
needless to say, and then he was an adult when this happened, so I wanted him to make his own decision. But
Mm.
needless to say, he did not appear for the meetup that they were supposed to have. And that's when the
Um,
anger, like, that's when I got angry because I'm like, he knows all of the things I've been through with my health. Why would you even reach out, or why would you
mm.
even tell him that you're going to be there and you're going to do this and you're going to do that? So I started getting angry because I thought all of that was, done with at one time. But when
Right.
my son said this to me, he was like, you have your parents. That just like, whew, it felt like
Wow. Mm.
everything was just stabbing me in my chest. And so I said, you know what? He have a point. And when I heard that his dad was home and he did not notify him, first of all,
Oh,
I was
wow.
very angry.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I got
Yeah.
in my vehicle to go look for him
Wow.
because I just got so angry. I was like, I just need to see him. Like, what is your problem? Just have a face-to-face
Yeah.
conversation. But as women, we have to accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
We have to accept it for what it is, and we have to ask God to give us the strength to
Mm.
persevere, the strength to go on, the strength to be that mother that we need to be. And we have to ask Him, and to lead and to guide and to move by His Holy Spirit when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to our kids, and when it comes to us as well. So when I just casted it up on God, and I said, God, I'm angry. Like, I'm in set it off type mode
Right.
right now. Because I felt like he hurt my baby.
With the cornrow straight to the back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, I'm in set it off mode right now. And I just had to get alone with him and just talk to him and like, God, cleanse my heart of all unrighteousness, all hatred, anything I'm holding against him. And like from that day forward, I would have to say he wiped it out. It was like it never even happened.
Mm. Wow. Now for the moms, because I know you saying you got to give it to God, which you do. But what about the moms that's out there that may not be on that spiritual level? Like, what advice do you have for them to even get them to a point? Because, like, when your child is hurt, when their feelings are hurt,
Hmm.
all bets are off the table. You could care less about jail time, who you hurting in the meanwhile, but you like, my child hurt, I'm gonna hurt you feel your feelings as well. But when God intervene in things like that, and it's hard. I kid you not, it's so hard because I
Hmm.
could even think about my older two daughters. You know, their dad is still in New Orleans, and the relationship it's not where it should be as daddy's girls. You know, like stuff like
Hmm.
that. But as far as that spiritual realm, like I have to keep reminding myself, okay, God is gonna take care of it. God's gonna take care of it. But what advice would you give to someone who may just be trying to get into the spiritual realm? You know, they don't have that relationship that we have with God. What would you tell them to help them get onto that next step of being that better mind when it comes down to a spiritual foundation? Because that's what it boils down to.
Let me tell you, healing takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Healing takes time. There are days like you're gonna feel like you've gotten there, but you're not there.
Mm,
Sometimes.
yeah.
When it comes down to our babies, that's just
it's
the way it is.
it's
But I
hard.
will tell the reason why I speak so much about God, and I know some people are not God friendly, but the reason I speak about it is because this has been my journey. And when I was 17, I came from a spiritual background. I came from a Christian home. Everything was God, pray. No,
Right.
therapy, no therapy, like get on your knees and pray. That's the home I came from. My dad is an
Ex-
ordained minister and everything like that. So
Yeah.
I came from that foundation. And I used to be like, why are they so hard into God? Like, let me tell y'all, first of all,
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna be a stripper. Yes, I did. I'm just
What
gonna
made
be
you have that
I
thing?
I, I
Where that
wanted
thought
to be a
come from? You
dancer.
got wait. You have to give us the background on this. What made you think you was gonna be a stripper? If you don't mind sharing with the
I
people.
wanted to be a dancer.
Okay,
And
that
I,
makes
I
sense.
was like,
And
I'm
nothing wrong.
understanding
And look, and let me make sure I put this out there. Ain't nothing wrong with you being a stripper. I mean, I'm just saying that's you and your journey. Don't think we
that's your
talking negative
journey. Your
about you.
business
Yeah,
is
we're
your
not talking
business.
negative about you. We just gonna say a prayer for you while you out here, and yeah. But yeah, I did not know that you thought about being a
But
stripper.
but in my mind, let me tell you, my mind was so misconstrued to say I came from such a beautiful home, right, with a great
Right.
foundation. My mindset was just so gully. Okay, it was
Hmm.
just gully. I was like, I'm gonna be out here in these streets. I'm gonna be hitting the clubs. I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna be doing that. Ain't do nothing here. But let me tell you something. When you are on your knees at your weakest point,
Right.
and you feel like you can't go on, and you have your family and you have your friends, and that doesn't suffice, something will
Hmm.
bring you to your knees.
Right.
And when I was 17, going through the experience of motherhood and teen pregnancy and clothes slamming doors slamming in my
Mm.
face, I just I wanted to self-harm. It
Wow.
got to a point like my parents couldn't even leave me home by myself because I wanted to self-harm, and they were
Right.
afraid that I was going to self-harm. So because of that, I said, you know what? I had to ask God to come into my life. And like you said
Mm.
earlier, when you have children, you have to lead them to God because they have to have their own relationship. So no matter
Right.
what my parents were doing and what they were teaching us, I had to get on my knees and accept him for myself.
Right.
It's a personal decision.
That part is very personal.
Yes.
Very personal. Whew. Okay, so let's talk about some growing pains because motherhood take you through that point. If
Hmm.
nobody, you'd be thinking the pregnancy, the contractions, and all that stuff is your pain. Oh yes, keep living,
Yes.
keep being a mother. You go through, you know, you go through different types. So can you share a moment in motherhood that changed you forever? What was that moment for you? What did it look like?
My moment that changed me forever was my lupus diagnosis and
Wow.
losing my mobility 5 months after,
Mm,
being told that I had less than 6 months to live.
wow.
That totally changed my motherhood. I will say that, of course, my relationship with God got deeper. My relationship with my son became deeper, and that's where I found my purpose.
Wow.
That's where I found the purpose that He ordained for me from the foundation of the world. Sometimes we go through life and we have these situations like chronic illness and losing my mobility hit me out the clear blue.
Wow.
I was living my best life. I was healthy. So for me, I never thought that I would be diagnosed with endometriosis nor lupus. I never thought I'd be losing my mobility, but I
Wow.
did. So sometimes you can do all of the right things. And we sometimes as a people, we see it as a big inconvenience. And let me get it right. Let me say this. It was a big inconvenience. But I will
Wow.
also say sometimes God have a funny way of doing things.
Yes, he does. I'm telling you, you tell him your story, he's gonna laugh. This is not what I told you you're gonna be doing.
He have a funny way of doing things. And I always tell people, do not try to lead your own life.
Yeah.
We can plan, we can structure, we can take notes, we can do whatever it is. But guess what? If he want to change that thing, it's going to be changed. But that was my
Mm.
moment for me when I lost my mobility and had less than 6 months to live. Because now I'm
Wow.
thinking, what about my son?
Yeah.
What about my son? He's fatherless. Now mom is going to be gone. And the only thing
Wow.
that I could think in my mind was to prepare him. And that's why I keep going back to
Mm.
God because I'm like, we're very close. We're very, very close. And I told my son, I was like, you got to pray. You got to pray. You got to ask God, to give you the strength. You
Mm.
got to have your relationship with God because no matter what happens, that's the only way you're going to be able to deal with this. Otherwise, you're going to turn to things that you don't have no business turning to.
Right. Right.
So that was the moment.
Mm. And with moments like that, I know you probably felt like just giving up.
Hmm.
Like you being told, you're not gonna be able to do this, you can't do that. But what was it that just kept you? What kept you just want to keep going, like not quit?
Let me tell you, I accepted death and dying.
Wow, did you?
I did. I was
Wow.
okay with it. I was okay with it. I got to a point because I was tired of being in pain and I was tired of fighting. And I came home after the doctor's appointment and I started to plan my funeral. I sat on the
Wow.
edge of my bed and I told my mom exactly how I wanted to look. I told her what I wanted and what I did not want. And I asked that she would share the information with my dad. And I called my son into the room and I broke the news to him as well. But the way that
Mm,
my son wept on me, I
mm,
was like, oh my God. I listen,
mm,
it was tough. The way my son, I mean, like I breastfed my son. So it was like that breastfeeding moment, like bonding. I can feel
wow.
him. And I remember we had to evacuate for a hurricane. And we were in that vehicle for at least 20 hours trying to
Mm.
get to Texas. Was it Texas? I
Yeah, I'm
believe
about to
it's
say, well, y'all trying to get to Houston? And you know
yes.
that's how
We were in
sketchy down
traffic
there
for
with.
hours. And I was already at my point where I was told that I had less than 6 months to live. And at this point, it was any
Wow.
day now. It was just any day, and I felt it. I felt it, and we went to Texas, and my son and I bonded like never before. And I'm like, this is weird because we're already so close, but it was a different type of bond. It was a lot of
Wow.
quiet moments, but it was a lot of affectionate moments too. You know, and that's what gave me my will to want to live. My son gave me my will to want to live, and I also thought about moms, single moms, moms who's married, but women in general, especially black women, and they didn't get to the point that I got to.
Wow.
Some of them didn't have warning to say, hey, look, I have less than 6 months to live. By the time they received the diagnosis, they were out of here. So I wanted to be here to tell my story. And I also wanted to be the voice for the voiceless.
Mm. Yeah, I tell you one thing, your strength is amazing. Like
Thank you.
just being able just to hear your story and wow. They ain't nothing but God. You can't tell me that's
Yes,
nothing but God. Like
nothing but God.
seriously.
Nothing but God.
Wow. And see, and even I know you and your son is close, but I know you and your parents, especially you and your mom, is
Oh,
close.
yeah.
So you sitting there telling her, "Well, mom, this is what I want. Do this, this, and this." Like as a mother, you don't want to hear that from your child. We were just talking about how we go all completely, but she had to sit there and listen to you, and even thank God it didn't happen. But if it would have happened, she would have made sure she fulfilled all your wishes. Like a
Yes.
mom's strength is beyond amazing. Like
Amazing.
people, and just like you said earlier, we don't give ourselves enough credit. And I'm really hoping that after hearing your story, that moms out there who even have the same diagnosis or anything that's similar, that they start giving themselves credit because that's tough. Like
Yes.
I can't even imagine physically being tired, emotionally, because I know emotionally you have to be tired,
Yes.
and that's why I had asked earlier exactly like, what was it that made you keep going? And now that God has healed you, I know you may still have moments, but thank God it's nothing
Mhm.
compared to what it was before. So, like you said earlier, girl, because you I had a minute. You were author. You are a lot of things. A
Thank
lot of
you.
things, but like with your schedule and things like that, does mom guilt ever kicks in? And if it does, how do you deal with it?
Oh man, I used to have so much mom guilt. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, even in the moments I didn't know what was happening in my body before my diagnosis and I couldn't show up because I was feeling bad. I had mom guilt. When I had to leave my son at a younger age and go to work, I had mom guilt. And you got to think about, okay, well, how these bills gonna get paid? You
Yeah,
know,
because we all the same.
how you gonna be able to enjoy this
Right.
life? And at one point, I worked in the capacity with children and families in the juvenile justice system.
Girl, that's a heavy job already. So you dealing with your life.
Investigations, yes, investigations. And so I felt like I was pouring so much into them. And then when I come home, I would just be so depleted mentally,
Yeah.
socially. But I persevered, I did the best. And I want to encourage moms that you only can do the best that you can do.
Yeah.
You give yourself grace, give yourself credit. And I had to learn to give myself grace. Like I had to tell myself, like, girl, you are a bomb mom. You ain't got no
Right.
help from dad doing this. Like, you're doing this thing. You're going to parent teacher conferences. You joined the school committee. Like, you are in there and you are in that thing deep. Like, keep going. And then I found support too from other parents who were always working. They
Mm.
joined organizations at the school as well to be there with their children outside of just the space of home, just to show our kids like we here, you know.
And that's the important part, just being here. Because I'm telling you, being present goes so far.
It
It really
does.
does. It goes so, so far. Now, with everything that we need to discuss, right? What is something that you want your child to remember? Like, what memory do you feel like you want your child to never forget about you?
I want him to never forget um two things. My sense of humor,
Oh,
was more than one thing. My sense of humor, um, my integrity,
mm.
and mama know how to save $1, baby. Mama is frugal here. Like sometimes he say, I'm not coming no more. But I say them coupons saved you, huh? And did. And did. Mama is frugal. I'm like, baby, let me tell you, when
Yeah,
you
that
get
is
into them
funny.
rough spaces, this is what you do to survive.
All right. Oh, I love it. I love it. Look, we getting close to wrapping everything going up. What advice would you give to a young mom that's new? Like, what's a brand new mom? What advice would you have for her?
Do not compare yourself to others.
That part, girl, you said
Don't
a
do
whole
it.
mouthful. Don't compare yourself.
Don't do it. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Don't do it. Don't compare yourself to others, baby. Get your rest.
Yeah.
Set your boundaries.
Boundaries. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Please. Please.
Boundaries. Mhm. Don't compare yourself to no Facebook mom.
Do
Just
not.
don't do it. Don't
Because
do
we
it.
all be struggling at times.
Yeah, but we ain't gonna tell it on social media. That's why I'm
No.
like, don't get caught up in what you see those moms be posting.
Mm-mm.
Because
Mm-mm.
some of them, they like to put on fronts and don't want to real live in the
Absolutely.
realistic of what's going on.
Yep, I
So,
agree.
what do you have anything else that you feel like God has placed on your spirit that we may not even have discussed or anything like that? Is there anything else that you would love to share with the
Yes.
listeners?
First of all, I want to thank you for doing this because prior to this, I was like, I want to go on a podcast and I want to talk about motherhood. And when I
Oh.
saw your post, I was like, dun, 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 let me slide in her DMs. Let me shoot my shot because I wanted to talk about this because I have so much, I have so many stories, but I would say like the foundation of my life started from being a teen mom. That's where I found Christ. That's where, I started
Mm,
to evolve as a woman and coming into my own. And I wanted to say that a lot of times, especially for Black moms, we are so conditioned. Not that my mom conditioned me this way, because my mom was like, girl, get your rest at all times. But as Black moms, we are so conditioned about securing the bag and not resting.
yeah,
Rest and stress can take you out of here. Okay?
right.
Sometimes there will be times that we have to tell our children no. We have to set boundaries with our kids as well. There are times that you're not going to be able to show up for every little thing that they need. that your children may have going on. Sometimes you may even need to cancel out a practice. At the end of the day, I say this, and I say this respectfully because I've been there. You have to take care of yourself. You got to take care of you. You are a priority. And I just want to put that out there because I see so many black moms, and moms in general just spinning their wheels and overcompensating for the absent parent, or just trying to do it all and be it all, trying to be the perfect parent. There is no perfect mom. You're not going
No.
to be a failure if you miss a practice. We have to deal with our unhealed trauma instead of recycling it and repeating those same cycles.
Wow. Say
Because
that again,
at
girl.
the
Please
end
say
of
that
the
again, because
day,
that's deep. That's real deep.
what our children see, and sometimes even without saying it, they can sense it, they can feel it, is in the environment.
Mm.
You gotta break the curse.
Mm. That's a whole word right there. Girl, you didn't close out like the like the pastors be doing. Got the word for the people real quick. Girl, I tell
Yes,
you this, I thank you so much. I appreciate you being vulnerable, you being honest, being 100, because sometimes, some people don't like to share their story because they may feel like other people are going to judge, but I appreciate you more than what you even know for
thank you.
even being a part of the vision that God has given me. So I sincerely, sincerely thank you so, so much. Oh
Thank
yeah,
you.
before we even roll out, because I said I want to make sure that you give out your social media handles, so people can follow you. Because I'm telling you, this girl here is like, go on her page. You're going to see the model. Her son is a model. You're going to see all her business things that she's doing. I'm telling y'all, she wear a lot of hats and she's dope
I
at
do.
everything that she does. Because the one thing she's not going to do is to do anything half tail. So no.
Hmm.
But what's your social media handles?
Tamika D underscore Smith. You can find me on Tamika D underscore Smith. Make sure y'all get my ebook too. The most toxic relationship I ever had, surviving medical gaslighting, lost in my path to healing. And I'm also starting a support group that's kicking off May 17th at the Jefferson Parish Library, um, on Manhattan in Harvey, Louisiana. That's for chronic illness warriors. But anybody is welcome to come from 12 to 1. But if you click the link in my bio, make sure you RSVP.
Yes. So is that your same handle on Facebook and Instagram, or are you even on Instagram? Which
Yes,
one?
all across all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Okay. Well, you all have heard it from Miss Tamika Smith, and I appreciate you so, so much. Even from Higgins days to grown adulthood, I
Yes,
greatly appreciate you so, so much. And y'all, so we have wrapped up day one of Mother's Tea episode on Ty as a Mother podcast. So we're going to be rolling. We have quite a few more moms that's going to drop on here. But like I say, Tamika has blessed us on day one, and we are looking so forward to day two. And I believe it's going to be Marquita Peaky London, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, it is her. But Tamika, thank you again. Thank you so,
thank
so, so
you.
much again. And y'all make sure y'all follow and stay up to date with everything that she has in store for her, because this is only the beginning, because God is going to definitely bless her beyond measures of what she can even imagine,
Thank you.
that she just
Amen.
thought. Right now, you're just on the surface of what God is
Yes,
doing
girl.
for you,
I
girl.
look. I
Just the
claim it.
surface. I'm telling you, you about to be doing more things. And you think the big platforms like for your parents, but really, God is setting you up for something even bigger. So just keep being obedient and keep
Yes,
doing what God
ma'am.
is telling you to do.
I
Okay.
sure will. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Well, y'all, that is it for day one, and we look forward to seeing you on day two. Y'all have a good one.